Dude, what's up?
All right, listen, you know how I told you I have big news?
Yeah?
And that you have to film it. All right, this is the big news.
What's up?
Lolcow Live has been doing so good that we got our first sponsor for the entire month of December. Each one of you are going to make a commercial promoting this brand, and you're up this week. All right?
Okay.
So I'm going to text you what the brand is. Make the best commercial you can, because I'm going to have the fans vote who has the absolute best commercial. Either you, Wings, or TommyC.
Oh, I'm gonna nail this. You know I'm gonna nail this, right?
I hope so. All right. Best of luck, Boogie.
Awesome, dude. Thank you, man.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Lolcow Live with none other than Boogie2988, Wings of Redemption, and a very special guest who just did a documentary on Wings of Redemption, Mr. Joon the King.
I prefer to be called Super Fatty Pimp Daddy.
I like that better too. Yeah. Can I introduce the guy already? I mean, jeez. You'll get your chance, Wings. Joon, welcome to the program. Really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Let's cut right to commercial. Thank you.
Ho, 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 ho. Now, what do you want for Christmas, little girl?
I want a computer from MetaPCs.
Ho, ho, ho. Well, they've got such great deals. Santa can get that for you in a snap. Oh, it's a little Christmas miracle. Now come here, little girl. Santa's going to want some milk and cookies. You know that, right?
Yes, I do.
And with MetaPCs deep discounts, you too could get a PC for Christmas. If you're looking for a pre-built PC or laptop, they could ship you one in time for Christmas. But if you're really looking to spend, you could build that custom PC with all of the bells and whistles, just like Santa's got back at the North Pole. And if you use code LOLCOW, you're going to save some money, and we'll make some money. Make sure all of those naughty boys and girls at the podcast get paid. Now give me some sugar, baby. Ho, ho, ho. Well, that's right. Go to MetaPCs.com now and use code LOLCOW to save 4% off of your brand new gaming PC.
All right, back with the Lolcow podcast. Joon the King, are you honored to be here with Mr. Wings of Redemption? And because it seems like this is the first day that your new documentary came out on Wings, quite good for us. It seems to be doing quite well. I thought it was very fair, but what's wrong with it, Wings? I mean, have you given it a watch yet?
I've skimmed them. Like, my issue is like he puts a background narrative on them that is almost like trolly in tone, because most of his sources are from troll channels, to be honest, because I'm a very closed person.
What could possibly be trolly about it?
I don't know. You got to give me bullet points, because I've only skimmed it. Like, I don't sit there and watch.
Jordan, I really think this particular one you would like watching, if I'm being honest with you, because it's very sympathetic towards you. It is more than anything a moratorium on your trolls and how they are basically
those dudes.
Yeah,
dude, my trolls are the fucking kings of fucking dirt bagging. Well, I mean, I don't want to say what they call it.
Yeah, but we're getting away. I think I don't think you're giving Joon a fair shot here.
Yeah,
I think it's very sympathetic and extremely
fair. I'm gonna ask
Joon
a question.
Yeah, well, what is it?
What is Joon's opinion of my troll community?
Man, Jordy, I think you have some very intense trolls. I think you have some really crazy people there. I mean, like your lighter trolls are pretty funny. I mean, the ones who just like say like big ups pimp in the chat, like those guys are just funny. But the guys who like swat you and extort you, I don't know. I think that's like really fucked up.
Well, the SWAT guy's gone to jail.
Yeah.
Is he?
Like the guy who, yeah, that was Wing Ting's version 3.
Has he gone to jail? I mean,
wait,
I've heard.
Wings. I heard that he possibly went to jail. I didn't see any reports.
No,
so.
he's in jail.
Oh.
He's in jail.
Okay.
What jail
I'm
is he
letting you
in?
know he's in jail.
What jail is he
I don't
in?
know. I don't know that, but I'm
Well, you
from
don't,
my
so you
sources, he's in
don't, so you
jail.
don't know. You don't know he's in jail. Be real.
I mean, I have an FBI agent. He's
Oh,
in
yeah?
jail.
They're trustworthy.
Okay.
He says he's in jail and just says that that's it. They're not aware of a trial or anything. That Joon the King is a great researcher. We certainly could find out more details, right, Joon?
Yeah, maybe we can look up if Wing Tings is in jail. Yeah, could be a possibility.
Joon, I sent you a DM that Jordy said about you in our chat. Would you want to read it for us?
A DM. Let me see.
Yeah, I sent it right here in Discord, but I sent you.
Oh, Lord.
It's actually from Jory.
Oh,
Jordy,
Wings, you
just
said
switch-
this. Was this you, Wings? Okay.
Could you read that for us, Joon?
What? I don't even know what this is.
I watched
Go ahead,
bits
read it.
and pieces of that Joon the King. Sounds like he is a 120-pound manlet. Dude, like
Yeah.
that never showed her face. Wings, in that video, I showed my face. Like, it was in the
I
beginning.
said I skimmed it.
Oh, come on, man.
skimmed it.
It was in the first, 2 minutes, though. Wings. Yeah.
How much
And
do
to be
wait?
fair, I still don't know what he looks like because we can't see each other.
That's fine. I would like to be, I guess, lighter, but I'm not 120 pounds.
I'll be honest. Haven't taken watched a lot of your videos, the ones about me, but a lot of the other ones as well. I was surprised to see your appearance in this one. I actually, I don't know. I had like a mythical version of you in my head, and you don't look like that. You look like just your average human being.
So what's the deal with these new YouTubers always wanting to hide behind shit or make cartoon avatars and mess like that? Like what's the deal?
Well,
like why did you feel like you wanted an avatar instead of your actual face?
You mean my profile picture? Is it like...
Yes.
Well, the thing is, Wings, with my videos, I try not to make myself the center of the videos. So if I intersplice myself talking, it really interrupts the flow because the focus is you. The focus is Boogie. The focus is not me, right? I'm not the center of the story.
Yeah, but you don't think that removes like your ability to create community?
No, I don't really think it does too much. I think people will certainly attach to me if I show my face more, but I think that like more so detracts from the content. So I try to avoid
Wait,
that.
I gotta interrupt you. Do you think he's one of these YouTubers that use like an avatar as all video? Because he doesn't.
I don't use an avatar.
Well, I was about to explain that. I was just like, you got to see where I'm coming
Okay.
from. Tommy, quit interrupting. From my experience, I deal with a lot of shady people, especially in the last 5 or 6 years of my life, and like the vast majority of them have like anime avatars or waifus, or even the weird ones have like wolves or cartoon wolves and shit. And these are the people that want to cuss me out and shit like that. So like every time I see somebody making a critique about me, it's always an avatar. It's never a face.
So
and
every time, June's not one of them. And so you don't watch June's video. You assume that he's one of these avatar like English kids. I find them annoying too.
Yeah, but like you got to look at my place. Like June's video isn't the only documentary floating around about me. There's the
why
Down
did
the
you-
Rabbit
why-
Hole. There's
why did you
Joon
put him
the
in?
King.
Why would you throw him in with
come
all
on,
those
you
other
gotta be,
guys?
like, a bit...
Because it's face value. Like I don't watch any of them.
I know, but Wings, you just say you don't watch any of them, you skim them, yet you have so many
them.
critiques. You know what I mean? That just doesn't seem very fair, my dude.
What critique did I put out there?
What critique?
Yeah, what did I critique on your video? Like all I said is like why the avatar?
Yeah, that. Well,
Like,
that's
not a
just
critique
an
of the video
example,
itself.
initially. I mean, I remember like I believe my second video, you talked about how you skinned Frederick Knutson's video, right? And you were saying how he has false information, how he doesn't get it accurate, and you were just saying like mine was more for the trolls too, like mine was more trolly in the sense, and it has more narrative.
Yeah, like
See,
you named your video a desperation of content. Like I choose not to create content because I don't have faith in myself anymore.
Wings, the thing is that's kind of like the title is not more so like it's not really for you, like it's more for the trolls. I mean, you are like I feel like more desperate than you've ever been. But that's more for the trolls because I feel the trolls.
Why do you feel that way?
Because you're sniffing your chair for $10.
Well, that's because it's a fucking dumbass thing. If they want to give me real tangible money to sniff a leather chair which doesn't hold smell, I will do it.
That's a bit desperate. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Jordy, okay, I have a question. Coming off
Yeah.
of the fight, would you be sniffing your chair when you were like
This was after the fight. This is a week after the fight that
Was it?
happened. Yeah.
Okay, well, I just, to be honest,
Because I look at it this way. Like the money's something that will benefit my life. I can use it for charity work. 'Cause I do charity work. I can use it for like doctor bills, I can put it away in savings, so I never have to choose between food or medicine. Like me sniffing the chair has no like long term risk with it. It's not like I'm gonna catch COVID-19 for sniffing a chair. I sit my fat ass in.
But do you know how that's going to present? Like, I've learned a very valuable lesson since this documentary dropped, for example, about how, even if it's a bit, even if it's a joke, how it's going to present. Specifically, when you have the troll community that likes to pick apart everything you do.
Right.
Like, you have to know how sniffing that chair is going to come across, right?
Yeah, it looks desperate, but guess what? Like, it gets people to talk about you, right? Like, I guess that does sound desperate.
So the title was appropriate, Wings.
Yeah.
So
No,
you've conceded this title is appropriate.
No, I don't think it's appropriate, especially with this act particularly. But like, I don't care because like keeping your name out there is good for you, no matter where you're at in your career, right? Getting new people to hear about you and interact with your content is the goal. And if sniffing a chair does that and that pushes the thing forward, that's fine. It's whatever. It's not like I'm out here eating like poop or something.
So you do have a limit. There is a limit then.
Yeah, 100% limit. I'm not. There's dudes with OnlyFans that do way worse than me. Like, look at Nikocado Avocado. He's like on OnlyFans, like bouncing on a dildo. You never see your boy Jay doing that.
And I'm glad for it. Yeah,
me too.
Thank God for the small favors.
Unless you were doing something like along those lines, then it would have been okay to title it Desperate. And do you think it would have been appropriate then?
Right. But I look at it this way. I look at sniffing a chair same as like people. Sniffing a chair is the same as like people paying me money to do jumping jacks.
Right, Wings.
They're both.
But the thing is, like I'm saying, like the title is not really for you. It was more so for the trolls, right? Because people will click on or comment on the video being like, "Wow, Wings is really desperate," but they'll see I'm talking more about the desperation on the trolls because that was a larger focus of the video because it's titled "A Drought of Content," right? So that's the trolls who have the drought.
Oh yeah. Well, I want to say this, like for a long period segueing, but like I want to say this, like for a long time I made my content as boring as humanly possible to try and drown them out, and then I gave up on it.
It did work. It really did work. I feel like you did good work avoiding the trolls and their commentary for a while.
But how does that affect
now? I don't care about it.
How does that affect your bottom line, though, Jordy? Because Joon does a pretty good job of like saying that you choosing to do that and engaging with these trolls less means that probably your bottom line is suffering. So is that true?
No, that's not. Like the only thing that really affected my bottom line was when they attacked, like when they got me departnered on Twitch, which that was bullshit in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know what Joon thought, but I can tell you exactly what happened. I was playing Rainbow Six, and one of the trolls joined my game, and he, doing the same stuff. Hey, Wings, doing like antagonizing me in game, and I go, I hope your mother sucks a. I said another word.
You did.
The COVID word.
You did.
But I didn't want to put them all in that order. But like, and that's what got me departnered because I defended myself from being harassed in my private time.
Wait,
like
to me, partnered? This is like video 2. We're talking about video 3.
Right. Well, like I'm just talking about like this is stuff that actually affected my bottom line because I got departnered from Twitch.
But we're here talking about his video, Jordy.
Yeah, we're talking about the last his video. 6 months.
Yeah,
is what this video is about. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't affect. No, like ever since the fight, my revenue's been up. Like my revenue, my views, everything's been up.
Jordy, I have like I believe a clip that happened in the fight was in May and then it was in June. That you said how you're recounting how like low your sub counts were, how little money you were getting. I do have the all my I could actually post all of my sources for this video.
I said that.
There's so many.
You know what? I'm not going to bullshit you. That most like what you got to understand is I'm borderline bipolar. Like some days I'm happy, some days I'm sad, and my mood can swing based on like the vibe or like certain things happening or if I'm not meeting goals or something like that. And like instead of being like an adult about things, I'll be like, oh, woe is me, Eeyore sometimes. And I try to avoid doing that for the most part. But that's really what that was. It was just a slow day. I don't even know what game I was playing. I was probably playing some off game like fucking Diablo 2 or some shit like that. Like, you can't read too much into that.
I mean, I
Like, it
can.
just-
You gave the exact numbers. It wasn't just your mood. You gave exact numbers. You didn't show it.
Well, I'm down 33% on views. I'm down 5% on watch time. 104% on subscribers. I've actually lost 81 subscribers in the month of June. And my money is down 43%. So I can tell you exactly why that happened. It's
Right.
because people were, brigging up the fight. Like, oh, this fight's your second coming. I'm like, dog, my numbers aren't that much better than before the fight, which they weren't. Like, the Lolcow podcast has really shot my numbers up.
That's good. I'm happy for you, man. I really am.
I think you got this guy all wrong, man. I don't think you gave him a chance, and I think you think he was just like some troll. Joon the King is a document. I mean, he makes documentaries.
I mean,
he's
I'll
very
be,
refined.
I'll be
Yeah, go ahead.
genuine with you, Jordy. I think if you can set your ego aside long enough to watch this particular video, I think you're going to be very surprised at the content, because for the most part, I mean, it does outline a handful of silly things you've done, like sniffing the chair and things along that lines. But it actually paints a very sympathetic picture of you, as it should, because I mean, everybody on the internet has trolls, but you have some of the most deranged, unhinged human beings I've ever imagined, and those people are so awful that even Joon has to take a giant dump on what a nightmare you've been struggling with.
Yeah.
And even goes as far as to compliment you and say what an excellent job you've done handling it, and even gives specific cases of how well you've done it, man. And like
Said you didn't feed the trolls. That was another thing.
You know when I knew they were bad, when Joshua Moon came to me and gave me his condolences. It's like, oh, but I don't know. Like, you get used to it a little bit. Like, you kind of get numb to it. It's like, I remember when I first started getting trolled, like, I'd get upset about the Liquid Richard stuff and like the making songs. But like, now I wish they would just make songs. Like, just make songs. I don't give a shit. Make songs, make videos. It's like Breaking Banquet right now. Like, he takes my content and he adds words in with like AI to make it sound like I say things that I didn't say, to make the narrative even worse on me.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like some trolls definitely do try to spread misinformation, which is just annoying for research.
Well, it's all about context. It's all about content. They want to paint it a certain way, and it's like, And I know why they do it. They do it because that's how they make their money. Like, as long as YouTube is willing to pay them, they're willing to make these videos. Because most of the troll channels don't actually hate me. I think the only one who really hates me is Wings007.
Gulag Kingpin,
Like,
I think, doesn't like you very much, if I'm correct.
Well, he doesn't make content either. I mean, like, he used to, but he pretty much doesn't now. Because that's a Wings of Redemption professional predator.
Joon.
Yes.
I have a note here that, I don't know if this is backtracking a bit, but I have a note here that he also said that the guy from Real Talk is going to jail, or is it the same guy we were talking about before?
Real Talk? Which
No.
one? Oh.
No, neither one. That's Wings and the other guy, the New York guy.
Yeah, but
I don't even think New York
you
guy
said
shows up
in
anymore.
his video, they had a tape and said, well, this guy's going to jail. I'd like to know who you sent to jail.
Oh, the first guy, yeah. The guy didn't really say. Oh, yeah, no, he says he's going to go, like, he's going to send Wings007 to jail. He said, I'm going to say it. And he really, like, tried to convince everyone that he's going to send Wings007 to jail, which never happened.
Who, me?
I believe so. It was either jail or suing him. It was a long time ago. I think you're just like...
No, is that a jail? Is he setting in jail?
I don't
It's
know the
jail.
context I'm getting asked this question.
All right. A caller asked you about the Real Talk podcast, and he said that the guys that are running that are going to, one of the guys is going to jail. I mean, you had me on tape saying it. And
No,
it's in June's video.
are you sure it was me? I was probably
No, it was
referring
your
to
brother.
Wing
Well, of
Teams.
course it was you.
No, it was me before.
I mean, I'll be entirely genuine with you, Jordy. When these people like break the law, I'm so glad to see them going to jail. Like the guy that extorted you. That's literally against. And I can't believe
That was Gulag Kingpin.
the conversation you had with that person. Not only were they breaking the law, not only did they admit they were breaking the law, they thought they were a superhero for doing it. And the way you handled that conversation, I have never had that much grace in my life. Most people I know don't have that much grace to handle that conversation as
Oh,
as
you're
well
talking
as
about the
you did.
one I recorded of him?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. That was actually very surprising. It's so surprising because the clips that I see on these troll channels or the things that I see in my timeline, that's not the Jordy I've gotten to know through this podcast. It's not the Jordy I got to know through the fight. You are just like a genuinely kind, gentle person. and you were handling that person with that kind of kindness, I was really surprised. I would have lost my temper. I think most people would have in that situation.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, people, like, the big thing that they try to do right now is they try to paint me out to be this, like, pedophile, like, narcissistic, like, wife-beating, animal-killing person. And I'm none of these things, right? Like, but they'll point and they'll go, "You said this on PKA."
Dude, did you find any wife killing or animal
Well,
killing?
the thing is, Jordy has said some ridiculous stuff in the past. He said some really fucked up shit, man. Like, I can't.
Like what?
Jordy,
Like
the
what?
things you said, even as a shock value, whatever, it's just insane. Like what? Like,
Like
the
what?
age, yes, I did say the age consent should be 12. That was a quote from Jordy. So that, yeah.
You want me to explain that one to you?
No, I know.
No,
The
we know. We
context,
heard the
but just
explanation
even
in the
saying
thing,
it, like, I know you
Yeah,
weren't
but-
serious. I
but-
know you were joking.
And I said it in a forum, which was a comedy podcast designed to make
Right.
people laugh and to get people to click. That doesn't mean that that's what I'm thinking about.
I'm completely aware of that, Jordy, and you disavow those statements, correct?
100% in
Yeah,
the
of
New York
course.
Times.
No, 100%. But it's just, even just saying those, even in a comedic fashion, it could be dangerous. I know it's not true. I know, like, all that is just bullshit. But it's a really bad image. It's just a
Don't you-
dangerous image to have.
don't you
Right,
understand
but
the
I've
person
said it,
that-
you can't take.
Well, to be
Yeah, I
fair,
see.
that was a decade ago. It's not like he's saying those things today, is he?
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't wait a minute.
And I
didn't
also
try
was
to-
young and dumb. Like, when I said shit like that, I didn't think the internet was going to last. Like, well, not the internet was going to last, but I didn't think I was going to last on the internet. I'd eventually just, fall out and just go back and get a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's why I don't believe that you are any of those things. I'm just saying that that's why you have such a poor image. It's because of that history. I understand it. I'm trying to, like, put it in a way to explain that some people don't, because they don't just see that.
I mean, the fact that 10 years have gone by and none of this has ever came about me, it's not like I'm EDP 445 here.
No, I don't.
Right. You never
Boogie,
done,
we had this,
like, from my knowledge, you never acted on any of that.
Boogie, we had this conversation when we first met, and you were explaining yourself, and you didn't have to explain yourself. You didn't have to explain yourself. Like, I almost did a video on you about 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago, you had some crazy allegations come out. Nothing has ever come through. Nothing has ever been solid, other than that quote that they take out of context.
I'd like to think at this point, just about most of the things that the trolls have tried to come up with. I'm a woman abuser. Well, I would like to think women would come forward if that was a thing, right? Like, 49 years of dating, someone would have come through. I would like to think, right? If I was doing awful things to children, I mean, it's absurd. And I think, given as long enough a timeline, anything like that would have obviously come out by now if it had. Same with Jordy. Those comments were made a decade ago. Nothing like them has been said. Nothing has come to light. I genuinely don't think Jordy's like that. But I do think both me and Jordy were raised in a similar environment where shock jocks were a thing. Howard Stern, Sam Kinison, stand-up comics. We were raised on that type of comedy where you would tell a joke and the entire joke was, I don't mean the thing I'm saying.
No,
That's
yeah.
the entire joke. You would
I
say
definitely
something
was
just...
too.
Right. And so... to have that in their past, I mean, I certainly shouldn't have it in my present, and I still do, unfortunately. I still consume that type of comedy. I still watch it. I love...
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, right? Is the exact example I was going to give. But I still go back and listen to Sam Kinison. I still go back and listen to Andrew Dice Clay. I go back and listen to George Carlin, Richard Pryor. I listen to all these very edgy comedians because I love that type of sense of humor. And the entire joke for most of those guys was, I obviously would not do these things. I obviously do not mean these things. I obviously am saying these things for the pure shock value. And it's just, I don't know, it's heartbreaking to see that haunt you the way that it has, Jordy. And you also mentioned, well, I thought one day I'd be able to go get a real job. A comment like that will haunt you into a real job. Outside of the documentary, I have pursued employment in the last year. Asked around, talked about it. Never really talked about it much other than on my live streams and now here. And when you Google me, it is not a pleasant experience because of the jokes and the things I've said and the things I've been accused of. That kind of stuff will haunt you into the real world. And
I'm fully
certain it
aware.
has,
That's
yeah.
why I did that's why I did DoorDash on the side, because like when the money was low, I was trying to do DoorDash and they got me canned off that. It's like, because even like, all it takes is somebody to recognize you, and then these people like latch on and just like spam call the like whatever you're employed at to get you fired with these
All right.
allegations. Like for example, like they'll take what I said on PKA and they'll wrap.
I want to get you guys back on track with June's video. Okay, this is. So I have a couple questions, and maybe June can help me out on this.
Yeah, sure.
All right, just a handful of notes that I kind of pulled out. When Chris Hansen did a cameo of you, Wings, you seem to actually believe he was investigating you. Is that the case? That it wasn't just like a fiver. You seem to be quite jolted.
I honestly
in the video.
don't remember Chris Hansen. Did I say something on it?
Yeah, it was, well, if he wants to investigate me, all he wants. Yeah, it was really funny. What about Kurt Angle?
That's the whole thing. Like, he can investigate all he wants.
Give you an angle slam?
No.
Come to your house.
There's something people don't know about me. Like, I've had the ATF and the FBI go through every electronic
We're talking
device
about
I
his
have
video, Jordy.
for this
We're
show
talking
already.
about his video. We keep going on, and you too, Boogie. We keep going on your personal stuff. Oh, God.
This video ain't about Joon the King's video. It's about his allegations towards me.
He didn't make any. I don't think he made an allegation. He just put the stuff out there that was already hanging there, and he basically takes down your trolls. And basically,
I'd like to know a single allegation, just one.
Yeah.
Well, that's an allegation that I thought he was reinforcing me. Like I most likely was just playing along with it.
Okay. That's why we ask questions.
Sarcasm, like sarcasm.
Okay.
Like I'm not worried about Chris Hansen.
Jordy,
Okay.
Like first off,
if I can offer you some criticism, if I may, you do not do sarcasm well. And that's coming from me, and obviously I'm not very good at it either. But most of the time, when you are being sarcastic, it is very believable, right? Like you would fit in great on Parks and Rec. You would fit in great on The Office, right? Like dry humor would be the internet. Your live stream ain't a place for that, man, and it gets you in trouble every time, and it breaks my heart to see it.
it's my delivery.
Yeah.
How come
My
your delivery's so
delivery's
much better here?
Very straight.
Your delivery,
That's
you
really- yeah,
kill
it's
it
really
here.
straight.
You know where I got that from? I got that from watching XCal videos. All right, June, what do you want to ask me?
What do I want to... Man, there's so many... Me? Just like out of the blue?
Yeah.
Questions?
Go to work,
Out of the blue,
June.
ask me something.
Seriously? Sweet. Okay, well, just a random one, right? Whenever Keemstar went to your house to record for the fight, did he plant those Pepsis in your fridge, or did you actually just have them there?
100%.
He planted them, okay.
100%.
That's what I was wondering.
Like, because at the time of the fight, I was having nightmares about fighting Boogie, and I'll admit this, because like Boogie was talking about like he was training, he had all these trainers, and like he was working out. So like this made me work out harder. Like I was showing like pictures of like where like the skin was like rubbing raw because I was punching the bag 2 hours a day and carrying water and things like this. So like I was eating super clean, and I was kind of cheating, taking this drug called Ozempic, which is like a diabetic drug.
Right, yes.
But it also has like the ability to make you lose weight.
Wait a minute, you cheated in the fight? Should it be
that's
awarded
not,
to
like,
Boogie
taking
then?
steroids or anything for anybody out there. That's not.
Did you take a piss test?
No, like taking
I'll
a weight
take
loss
the
drug is
victory
not
if I can
cheating.
get it.
in a
I'll
fight.
Yeah,
take
I
the
was gonna
victory,
say. Did you just confess to cheating in the fight? Maybe Boogie.
I mean,
That's
they weren't
that's
giving
not
me
cheating.
Ozempic. I couldn't get that stuff.
And they knew I was on Ozempic during the fight too, because they had a doctor that come out there and ask you all the medicines you're on and stuff like that.
I have asthma, and I wanted to bring my asthma inhaler to the ring so that I could hit it afterwards because I knew I was going to need it, and they wouldn't let that at ringside because
Yeah,
they told
'cause
me it was
it's
a
got steroids in it.
performance enhancer.
Yeah,
and
they-
so
it's
I'm
got stuff
surprised
in
to
it.
hear they let you have Monjourno or whatever, Ozempic or whatever.
Let's get back on to
Ozempic,
June's thing.
yeah.
June's our guest. Do you have any more questions for
But
him, June, or any statements or interests?
Well, you can ask me anything you want to ask. But yeah, the Pepsi's 100% planted. Like we actually bought them when the time was there, because I think he did the same thing with Boogie. Like he planted like some real Mountain
Mountain Dew,
Dews
yeah.
over there.
Oh no, I had. Well, yeah,
Oh, you actually
they
just
did
had
bring.
them?
No, they did bring real Mountain Dews, but I had Diet Mountain Dew. I'll drink a Diet Mountain Dew on the way to the ring, just to be honest with you. I needed caffeine. I needed my drug of choice. My drug of choice.
Dog,
was
you
Diet
looked like
Mountain
you
Dew,
were
yeah.
exhausted by the time you got into the
Oh,
ring.
I was 110%. But the point is, like, you don't keep any of that stuff in your fridge at all. Do you have it in your fridge now?
No.
Really? If I
Like,
went to your fridge right now,
here-
no Pepsi?
No, here's my thing with Pepsi's, right? I'm a fucking soda addict. Like,
June,
people
June,
wanna
do
say,
you
like,
want
oh,
to know
I eat like
more
shit.
about
No,
his
I drink like
Pepsis?
shit. Like I drink
June.
nearly all my calories.
No, that's all. That's my only question about Pepsi was just that one.
Was that was the only? Okay, all right. Because I just
Another
wanted to be sure.
Do Yeah, that was just the Pepsi. That was the entire Pepsi thing.
That's it? What's all you wanted to know?
Yeah.
Now you
No,
know.
okay. Do you like finally own your trailer?
First off, it's a modular home.
Oh, the modular home.
And, like,
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Because like calling it a trailer is not factually correct.
Oh,
because
my bad.
My
My
house
bad.
doesn't have wheels or a tongue, and it cannot move. It's actually deeded to the
So it
land.
just looks like a trailer.
And I'm going to be long-winded here. Can I be long-winded, Tommy?
Sure,
Am I allowed
sure.
to?
Ask June. I don't know. Go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, you're allowed to. Tommy probably interrupt you. He has every right to interrupt
yeah, that's
you.
my
but
job.
Yeah, go ahead.
But,
Go ahead.
I took my house over on a verbal contract with my mother. My mother was moving out with my first stepfather, and they were building a house. And when she moved out, she's like, I was still living at home. She's like, do you want to take this house over? Or do you want me to sell it? And I go, I'll take it over. And I took the house over, and then she ended up refinancing it a couple times on me, and I paid those off. So I paid upwards of, I paid basically 3 mortgages on the house.
Well, Winks, can I interrupt you there? Why did you do
Yeah.
that? Like, how wasn't there a conversation between you and your mother? Like, hey, this isn't cool. Like, you keep refinancing and essentially taking your money. Why wasn't there like anything stopping?
The first one I was agreeing with, because the first one it was going to increase the value of the house by putting brick under it and stuff like that. And we also bought my grandmother a house, like a single wide trailer, which you can legitimately call a trailer, because she needed a place to stay. Right? She made some bad choices, like drinking and driving and stuff, and she needed a place to stay. And I was more than willing to buy my grandmother a trailer in a mortgage form. The second one, me and my mother were fighting hard, and she did it out of spite. So
Out of
like me and my
spite?
mother didn't get along. Yeah, like she ended up buying like a boat and some other shit with it. And me and my mother there was a period in my life me and my mother didn't get along very well. And there was that, because like she was accusing me of like stealing her house from her and stuff like that, because her second marriage failed, and at that point she moved back in with me, and that's when we got back together.
Was the boat nice?
Yeah,
She ended up selling it
Was it a
before
nice boat?
she ended up selling it before she moved back in with me. But regardless, that there was that. And so like what ended up happening is the house was completely in her name, because I took it over on a verbal agreement. I just took the loan over. Like instead of them going to pay the loan, I went and paid the loan. At the end of when I paid it off, I'm like, you got to give me the house now. And she didn't want to do that. And so we fought on that for a while. So like I stopped paying the land taxes and the insurance. And then she started getting letters about that. I'm like, well, the house isn't mine. You got to pay these land taxes and insurance. So like then she made a deal. She'll give me 25% of the house if I catch the stuff up, which I did because I had the money set aside. And that basically gives me the rights that she can't no longer remortgage it or like sell it without my signature.
Jordy, that's insane. I like, as much as the trolls like mess with your finances, I don't think anyone has done more to that than your mother. Jesus Christ, man.
No, losing my Twitch Pro was way worse than that. But the thing is I love my family, and all you get is
I know
you get is your
family's
family.
important, but Jesus, dude, that's a lot of money.
And I took this deal when I was 19. This is before YouTube.
Oh,
That's
man,
when I took the house over I took this house over when I was 19 years old. And if I had to do it again, I wouldn't do it.
Not a fourth time. Okay.
Period. I wouldn't do it. Like if you went back right now and I had the head in my head now that as a 19-year-old boy, I would have just went and bought a house, because I could have went and bought a house for $140,000. Then it would be like a stick built, sheetrock house at that time, and I would have had the same amount of money in it, and it would be accruing value instead of losing value. Because modular homes, they hold value well, but they don't ever accrue in value like a regular house will. But like you live and you learn. You make stupid mistakes as kids.
Because of trailers.
I technically own my house, but everybody will say 25%, 25%, 25%.
Which is 25%. That's the correct thing. You own 25% of it. Right.
Right, but in my head, I've paid every dime on this house.
I know you paid
even.
Yeah, go ahead.
Even my mother paid the money to move it here and like get the land, the prep, and everything like that. But with those remortgages, like that second one that everybody wants to talk about, that's kind of shitty. I look at that as me paying her back for the initial amount I didn't pay.
I know, man. That's just so insane. But I mean, I know what you mean. You invested a lot of money, but like on paper, you own 25%. Officially, you own 25%.
Yeah, if it ever goes to
Yeah,
court,
but in his
you're-
head,
you're
it's
only getting
100%.
Well, if she sells it, but she can't sell it without my signature. So like I'd have to agree to the sale.
Oh man, Jordy, like it's moments like that I feel you do have a big heart, especially when it comes to family, because that is just that's a lot more than a lot of people would do.
Like I said, like life's about who you love and how much you love them. Like all this is material. Like as long as I got a place to stay, a roof over my head, I'm usually pretty happy.
Yeah, this is the guy I've gotten to know in the last 6 months, and it sucks having watched Joon's video today, and to see the hell that people have put you through, man. Like I genuinely love you, dude. I say that word very loosely because I'm a pretty big-hearted guy, but like I genuinely care about you, man. And it sucks. This story breaks my heart. The story.
Well,
You don't care about me.
to be fair,
I don't know you that well, Tommy. We'll need a 2-hour Joon the King video
it's
first.
better. It's better now. And like most of the stuff that the Joon video talks about was year plus old, other than like the fight, right?
Yeah, but it's the
like
last
the
year.
trolls really haven't fucked with me that hard.
He says in the damn video that things have changed.
Like the
for
only
you.
thing the trolls really did this year was the ATF.
Yeah, which he goes in, which he goes. I mean,
Tommy, you keep coming at me like I watched the entire video when I told you.
you didn't watch
before, I've skimmed the
anything. I
thing.
want you to
don't know
admit that you
everything
didn't
said in
watch.
the
I
video.
want you to admit that you didn't watch a god thing, and you thought he was somebody else. I want you to admit that.
I can't admit that because it's not true.
Wings, can you point out anything specific in the video? Maybe things you didn't like, maybe things that got wrong. If there's anything that actually got wrong.
The only part of the video I watched more than like a few minutes of was the fight because I wanted to watch myself beat Boogie up again. But but like
So nothing.
I don't know. I just didn't like the tone of the video more so than the content of it itself. Like,
What do you mean
if
the
I
tone?
sat down and watched it,
he's deadpan.
maybe I should do that. Would you?
He uses
would
a deadpan voice. What tone,
The tone?
could possibly be trollish or he has a deadpan delivery? Like how could the tone be off? I don't even understand that.
TommyC interrupt Wings of Redemption all episodes.
I don't care. You can't sit down. Here's the deal.
TommyC doesn't let Wings of Redemption. I mean, like that's what.
Now
That's
you're
what
trying to send the trolls after
you see,
me.
it's all about context. It's all about how the voice and everything goes. Like,
right.
I know the context. I actually watched the
Jordy,
video,
what is the
Wings.
exact
well, to be fair, we were supposed to have Chris Chan on this episode, and like this was put together in like a span of 4 hours.
It really was.
You
It was
didn't
really
watch it. God.
Yeah,
It's
like
okay.
we were coming into this week.
cool. So you can admit you didn't watch it. That's fine. I understand if you didn't watch it.
I mean,
I
like
thought it was-
literally, it's like I'm like, okay, you guys want to roast me? I'm cool with it. Let's do it.
I mean, to defend Jordy, I will say having watched some of Joon's videos in the past, but anybody's videos about me, Turkey Tom's or whatever, I find it very painful sometimes to watch that stuff. So
Of course
and
it would
I'm
be.
pain adverse, right? So like the last time I watched one of your videos, Joon, and I only watched like 60-70% of it. I watched as much of it as I could. There are parts where I had to skip forward. I said this, I think, in the tweet that you retweeted. But that said, like, I have to see this outside perspective of myself. I have to see these painful memories. I have to see so much. So, like Jordy, it's okay to admit that you don't watch this stuff about yourself.
Yeah, I'm
Like
not.
anybody
I
in
will
your same
100%.
situation would do the same thing.
Jordy, you know why I'm in
Death
your
by a
ass right
thousand
now?
cuts.
Jordy,
That's what I
Jordy,
look
you know
at
why
it.
I'm in
If
your
you
ass
live in
right
that
now?
realm,
Hey, Jordy, you know why I'm in your ass right now? Because I don't think you're telling the truth. I watched the
Why is
video.
that?
It's neutral as hell. It's caring as hell. The video, the title is like brilliant because you go in thinking like Wings is f***ed up. When you realize you watch the whole thing, you realize the trolls are f***ed up. They're the ones running out of content. Like, it's a good video, man. And that's why I'm like, that's why I'm irritated here because he did a good job and he doesn't seem. And I've worked with Joon before. And he doesn't seem like a bad, vicious person. And he has a deadpan delivery. He's neutral. I'm sure he makes mistakes, right? But I mean, this is super fair.
I walked into this episode expecting you and Joon to come out like with a at least a acquaintanceship, I should say, like, because I mean, genuinely, he went to bat for you in this video and against some really crazy, dangerous people. Like, I wouldn't want to draw an X on my forehead with some of the people he was roasting in this video. He was destroying those people, and he was doing it because he was supporting you. I mean, that's why it's so frustrating. Like I got linked this video 2 hours before record time, and then we got an extra bonus hour, and I watched it in 1.5 times speed. And I don't know, man, I really wish you would watch it, because this would be a completely different episode had you even actually skimmed it, if I'm being honest. If you even skimmed it, I think you would have realized that it was a very positive video for you.
Yeah, Jordy, that's I think a recurring issue, because this is my third video about you, and I noticed several times that you'll be talking about like a video about you, something, and you'll say like, "Well, that sucked. This is terrible." But you don't point out specifics, and then what that does is people assume you didn't watch the video, and you don't, and that makes things like much worse for you in the future.
Well, the reason I don't watch the videos is death by 1,000 cuts.
I know
like,
that.
if you stay in that headspace,
Sure.
I try like generally when I turn off like the stream, I turn off YouTube. Like I go into my own little world where I watch like people rebuild old cars and shit like that. That's what I like. So like I don't want to live in that realm where like people constantly think I'm this bad person that beats his wife.
Then why don't you
Jordy,
say
that's
that?
completely understandable. I wouldn't watch like critical videos about me, but you shouldn't lie, is what I'm saying.
I didn't lie. I said I skimmed the video.
Barely. You
Right, but I'm just talking about
part.
like general like things in the past. But so you said you skimmed the video, but like, can you point out anything specific besides like the fight?
I told her
proof.
like. I mean, like.
Just anything. You watched it like what, 2 hours ago? Just anything to prove you watched the video.
No, I watched it last night. Like,
okay.
On my tablet. Like
It's been when it first came out.
Like I said, like it's mainly just the context in itself. Like if I had the video sitting in front of me, I could point it out, but I couldn't do it off the top of my head. No.
Not a single thing to prove that you skimmed. Not just the smallest thing that I said. Anything like at all.
I obviously knew you talked about the fight. I seen that you went
Right.
into like troll Discord DMs. I seen you talk about like the how like I was trying to make money with the games attorney and like the KEEMSTAR like thing. Like,
Yeah,
I've
the
watched.
fight, yeah.
Yeah, like I skimmed it just to learn the narrative of the video, just to have some foundation, because I thought this was going to be like you're going to come in here and you're going to ask me questions, not talk about the video itself.
Oh, like as if I was interviewing. Well, I mean, yeah, I've researched so many hours on you. Like I said, this is my third video. I've watched so many PK episodes, and on like the topic of that, like how is?
So let me ask you a question on
yeah,
that.
Go ahead.
On that, what do you think about the PK situation with them kicking me off?
I think it was very much justified because of the
Why?
camping trip. Why? Because of the commitment, right? It's just, it's not a very fun thing, Jordy. Because like let's say my group of friends, right? If we agreed on something and then we're all invested and we're gonna go to this thing and then we're all going and then like the night of, one of my friends just backs out. And not just that, like it's a history of my friend just not being the greatest person. At that point, I feel investing in this person that has shown themselves to be unreliable in like a business setting is not really great for me. So at the time, I think.
Well, first off,
yes.
At the time, PK wasn't a business. We profited, but we profited like
Then it's a business.
$200 like every 3 months or some shit like that.
That's money.
Because like here's what you're not understanding, right? Like I pulled the boat when they were smaller channels and then they got bigger than me, right? And there was a period in my life during that time I lost my big contract and I went through a spiraling depression. So I was trying to do things to try to make myself get undepressed. Like that's why, like, for example, this one always gets brought up. I wanted to go to a concert. I wanted to go to a Flog It Molly concert. And that concert happened to fall on the day that we recorded, right? If I asked Boogie or Tommy, like, hey, man, can we record before or the day before, the day after? All good, you know? We'll accommodate, right? And that's usually what would happen. But that day, Woody's like, no, you come to work. I'm like, I don't get paid for this. And at the time, I was like, yo, we should really monetize this because I was struggling financially. Like, I was living off savings because I was in a spiraling depression. I wasn't really working. I was doing a lot of things that were detrimental to Jordy because my mind wasn't in the right place. So instead of being like a good friend and trying to nurture me through this, they wanted to like just show tough love, be like, come to work, show up and this and none of that, and not understand or reach out to me like, yo, he might be going through something fucked up, because I try to keep to myself a lot. So it's not all their fault.
Well,
but then,
yes.
then the thing happens, and we're going to do it, and then like, here's the line of thinking. Here's the reason I backed out. They wanted to go, it was April, and that April was ungodly cold. It was cold, it was rainy, it was supposed to rain 3 of the 4 or 5 days that we were supposed to be there. They didn't want to bring a GPS. They didn't want to bring a compass. We were going to Uwharrie National Forest in North Carolina, and we were going to get ourselves lost on purpose in a cold, rainy, wet season. What 400-pound man is going to subject himself to this?
I would have.
The one that agreed to do it.
You suffer together as friends. You suffer together as friends. You agreed.
And again, Kyle left 2 days early.
Yes, because
he left. He left 2 days early, and I jumped out 2 days beforehand. And if I knew Kyle was going to get sick on the first day, I would have just fucking went.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, but like, a 400-pound man can't hike it 10 miles into the national forest and live 5 days without food or water, and not be just miserable.
Jordy, those are things that I understand, but yes,
but like that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. That's not really why I got kicked off. I got kicked off because all the times that I would like sleep in or like miss the show or just be unreliable because I was depressed, slob of shit.
Jordy, it sucks that you were depressed, honestly, but that's what I'm saying. If I'm like starting a podcast, I know it was small, but the thing with podcasts is it has potential, right? You invest in it, and when it grows,
we were 176. We were 176 episodes in,
right? And it was still growing, and it still needs time to grow. Podcasts,
I would make the comment that I was basically the star of the show because of comments I would say, stuff like that got me in trouble. Because, like, I got all the negatives of the podcast, none of the positives. Because, like, they replaced me with, like, Taylor. And, they're making $20,000, $30,000 a month off, like, Patreon and ads a piece.
Bet you wish you took that hike.
Taylor got none of the negatives. He didn't get an army of trolls fucking with him. I wish I took that hike, dog.
Yeah,
like,
I bet you wish you took that hike.
Plus dollars in my savings account right now if I took that fucking hike. But it's like, work through it. If you're really my fucking friend, you work through it.
Exactly.
Because at the time,
I could throw that back at you. If you're really their friend, then work through it. Why didn't you go on the camping trip, Jordy? Work through it. Work through it.
All right. Why didn't FPS Russia work through it? Because at the time
he got sick.
At the time,
committed. Yeah.
No. At the time I got kicked off the show, I was the one that was on the show the most. Like statistically, I was there more than every other host.
Well, to go back to your question though, Jordy, you asked him. Taking a look at the PK situation, do you think it was justified for me to be kicked off the podcast? And as someone who's suffered from similar situations, I have to say absolutely it was justified, because if you were showing up late, you weren't doing the job, you didn't go on the camping trip, you weren't showing the camaraderie, you weren't willing to do the work, you weren't willing to film the episodes, yeah, I mean, it was justified, in my opinion.
I missed like 3 episodes.
Okay, well, I only have the context you're offering today, and the context you're offering today sounds like they had every right to. And
I was begging them to monetize it. Like if we monetized it, I would have put more effort into it. But at the time, it was just something I did that was basically free.
I don't quite believe that, Jordy. There's so many times where you're like,
you don't have to believe it, you won't.
No, that's fine. That's why it's my belief, right? And that I can express.
I'm sure Woody will straighten it out.
Right.
I mean, Woody can straighten out all he wants. He knows we weren't making money on 176. Like we get paid $1,000 an ad. And we'd split that 4 ways.
Okay, Jordy, there's things that we have to establish so we don't talk about it like over and over. You weren't making money on the podcast, right? We got that covered.
I was making very little.
You were making very little, but it was still a business that people were investing into. Okay, so you weren't making much. It didn't seem like something that people really want invested in. But the core of it is you yourself stated in this podcast that you were unreliable. Correct. I mean, like
for the last 2 or 3 months.
No, in the podcast, in the podcast, you were unreliable.
The last 2 or 3 months of the podcast, I was depressed. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we got that, and that is the core of it. You were unreliable. That's why it's justified, and that's it. That's the whole conversation.
Well, what about them paying the other guy, and then not paying me at all?
Like, Jordy, the thing is with that, it's
no. Because like here, when I got kicked off the show, they paid Lefty $10,000 to relinquish his part of the show and walk. Why didn't I get that option?
Okay, well, before we move on to that, can we agree that it was justified, the kicking off?
No,
we can't.
No, because if I'm in the same situation, let's say Boogie goes into one of like his depressed states.
Right.
And Boogie wants to miss shows and stuff. I'm not kicking Boogie off. I'm going to call him. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to try to be his fucking
I
friend.
mean, yeah. I would expect if for 3 months I tune in a lackluster performance on the show and I miss 4 or 5 of them, and then Keem's like, "Hey, look, we have a work retreat. I need you to be here," and I don't show up to that, I would have every expectation for you
that's
to kick
not
me off.
work
Yeah.
retreat. Work retreat's not. It's not like we're going to have coffee and cake. We were
Well,
going to
there's
eat
it's camaraderie.
raw fish.
You know, it's still camaraderie, though. Is the point that I'm making. Like, they wanted to go through an experience together, and they wanted you to be part of that experience. And, like, no, don't get me wrong. I would have told them, I cannot do that. I will not do that. But it just, the pairing with that of the 2 or 3 months of depression. I mean, here's the real reality of it. And this is a hard lesson for anybody to learn. But, like, your mental health is yours to deal with. It's not up to your family. It's not up to your friends. It's not up to the office you work at. It's not up to the internet. It's not up to anybody. It's up to you and the therapist you hire.
I don't co-sign to this idea.
Well, at the end of the day, it does take a village. It is good to have your friends and family support, but you have to do the work. You have to do the work.
I agree. I agree.
People,
the change has to come from you, but it's easier to carry a couch with 2 people.
I think
Yeah,
we're
but
going
I'm
in
saying- what I'm
circles.
saying is
I think we're going
we're
in circles
going-
on
we're
this.
speaking
We're on this
circles.
way too long. But
Yeah,
I
this
do
is
have
just going
one
circles.
question. I do have one question, Jordy. This has been over 10 years. Does this still bother you? This just came up. I talked to you a couple months ago, and you played it off like you don't miss it at all over there. Sounds like now the leaving that podcast hurts you to this day. Is that true?
No. I don't miss the podcast. I wish I made the money.
You wish you'd made the money, but you had to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got-
Man, the easiest
Which I
job
did.
ever.
I did
Not
show
enough.
up. I showed up 173 out of 176 episodes. That's showing up.
Yeah. Well, we discussed this quite a bit. I think Jordy's not going to change his opinion.
No,
I
it's fair enough.
I did something for free for 7 years. I think I showed up.
You know, I didn't make the big money on Baited, and I just kept moving. I never. Well, I quit. I mean, but I don't know, Jordy. It doesn't
I technically made more money on the podcast show than I ever did on PK. And the podcast show was like, we only did 100 episodes.
But that's fine. That's like who Jordy is, in my opinion, right? You can't change his opinion, even though like I think he knows he's wrong. That's the kind of person
I'm not
he is,
wrong.
and that's why he's entertaining.
I don't get why you think I'm wrong about this. To state
I do.
that
I
was the
get it
foundation.
completely.
I was
Jordy,
the
it's fine.
foundation of that.
It's fine.
They would not be where they're at right now if I didn't take the lumps I took in the early grounds of that podcast. They wouldn't have. It would have fizzled out like a fart.
I know, Jordy. That's your opinion, and that's why you're like, that's the core of you. That's why you're so entertaining, because you're so combative instead of trying to understand. And it's perfect.
You're not gonna get me to understand that because I missed
I know.
3 episodes while I'm fucking depressed as hell that I deserve to like lose almost $1 million worth of money on something I put 7 years of my life into. No. Like
Right.
All right,
until the day I die, they're in the wrong on that. I'm
Right,
still
that's
their
okay.
friend, and that's why I don't go on.
But it doesn't bother you.
I don't lose sleep over it, and I know. Like, what am I going to do? Sit there and mope about it to the end of time?
I mean, I will say I got nothing in the world. Like, I have no reason to defend the PKA guys. They have roasted me like it's I'm a Thanksgiving duck. But
Good.
at the end of the day, I will say I do think they probably should have bought you out. I think they definitely should have given you some money as you were let go or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, expecting Kyle, especially Kyle, to like be like, well, he's depressed, we really need to cut him a break. Kyle don't seem like that kind of guy.
He's not that kind of guy.
Yeah, he's definitely not that kind of guy.
Kyle's a pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of guy.
Yeah, and so
But
to have expected
Kyle was
anything
also-
else from them seems ludicrous to me.
Kyle's also a guy that came for money and doesn't know what not having money is.
Oh, Tommy, was
All
there
right.
any more questions about the video specifically?
Actually, yeah, the one video, it kind of goes into what we're going for. Is the New York Times article. It's almost parallels your video. The New York Times article was, well, I'm gonna go by PKA. PKA said it was more than fair, that it was sympathetic, and much like your video here today, Boogie, Wings seemed to think it was incendiary. It was a hit piece. Going so
100%.
far to ban NYT in the chat. Not that I like the New York Times by any stretch, but like I don't understand, Wings. Like everybody's reporting.
Let me tell you about the New York Times. The journalist I forgot her last name. She was Tiffany. I remember her first name was Tiffany. But the piece was about Uvalde, which was, which is a stain on American history. Uvalde is. And like people were like bringing me up as like a crisis actor and all these like bad things, but Uvalde was the big one at that point. And I came on to talk about Uvalde, and then she brought all this pedophile shit up, and I'm like, dog, you can't take that out.
Oh, okay.
And I'm
that's a little different. Okay.
You can't take that out, like, because we came here to talk about Uvalde and how I'm not a crisis actor.
But did it end up
It
in the
didn't
article?
make it in the final cut. It did not make it in the final cut.
No, he didn't read. He didn't read the article. Just like you didn't watch the video.
I did read the article. It's in there. It's in there because I had
stuff is in there, June. I didn't read the article.
Let me pull out the article and let me control see this. Or let me. Yeah.
It's 100% in there because I wrote a letter addressing it. Because me and Kelly basically helped me ghostwrite it. Like me and Kelly sat down and we drafted a letter as like a.
What are the odds you didn't read that article?
I read the motherfucking article. They
After
gave me
today,
the article in advance.
it makes me suspicious that you didn't read it because you didn't watch this video.
Quit being an idiot, dog. First off, how did I know what was in the article to bitch at her before the article came out if I didn't read the fucking article?
Because she asked you the questions and you assumed it was going to be in the article?
Oh my, no. They give you the article 2 days in advance.
Yeah, so I searched it. There's no P word. Yeah, let me link it in the Discord.
They don't use the term. They don't use the term.
What term do they use?
They talk. It's
I'll
like
apologize if there's nothing in there about underage crap. I'll apologize to you right now. I want to hear this.
If you can, like, Jordy, if you can click on the article and just like Control F, search it in there, and then I just want to know where they accuse you of that. I want something specific. I just need something specific.
I'll look at it. Is it possible, in fairness to Jordy, is it possible that they took it out after he complained?
No, they did.
I don't think they would do that. This is recent, but
because they have editors, they have to do it. Like once they submit the things, their editors.
No, not unlike there's plenty of cases where nowadays, especially the New York Times starts taking stuff out from old articles from years ago. I don't trust these guys at all. How long is this? It's not even that long article. By the way, I just want to tell the audience, when you're talking about crisis actor, there was a shooting at Uvalde, and initially, Jordy was posted sort of like Sam Hyde is
right here.
One of the victims.
Here it is. Before that, he regularly appeared on a podcast where he's attracted some criticism for his statements, including some homophobic and racial slurs and comments supporting the lowering the age of consent.
That was the thing?
Yeah, but that doesn't
make... I wanted to take that one line out.
That doesn't
you
make
asked
you... That doesn't make you a pedophile anyway. That's just like a.
I know it doesn't make me a pedophile, but like, do you want that in a major publication?
No, I wouldn't want a major publication, but it's not like it's a. You can't call it a hit piece now. I'll tell you that right now because that's nothing in there was a lie. A hit piece would be to be somewhat dishonest or deceptive. That's not deceptive.
What the dishonest and deception was, they added that after the fact. And we didn't talk about any of that. Like, because like they threw that in for spice.
I thought you just let me see if I understand here. I thought you just told me when she got you on the phone, that was this Tiffany that was so nice to you.
It was a video call on Zoom,
and then she hit you up on the pedo stuff. So what happened? Did she not talk to you about this?
She gives you they give you the article 2 days before it airs, and they tell you what page it's going to be on and when it's going to be up, and they let you read the article, and I seen it. I read the article, and I seen that, and I'm like, dude, why is this in here?
Did she bring it up during the interview? Because I'm pretty sure you said in this podcast.
Then she stonewalled me like, it's public access. I can say what I want to say, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I still have the emails to this day saved about this. And like I went a little Kevin on her, and I will admit this, and I ended up apologizing at the end because that's not who I want to be as a person, right? Because it is public knowledge. I felt like they didn't have to include that in an article about like being a crisis actor. And I felt like it was just there to make me look like a shit person.
June, is that fair? It really has nothing to do with the story, in fairness.
It can be crude, but the thing is, you want to give some maybe motivation for the trolls and why they would want to target like Jordy. And Jordy did say those things, but as we understand it, like Jordy didn't really mean that kind of thing.
So right. Yeah, it's completely appropriate.
Yeah, you want to give motivation.
Like, that's completely appropriate. I mean, to put that in there.
Right, but like, Tommy, like, if I'm asking you about, like, say, like, can you give me your mother's souffle casserole recipe? And then I write a review of it, and I say, well, TommyC said the N-word at this time.
But it's giving context to why you're treated the way you're treated. That's why, I mean, that's pretty much what it's giving context to why you're, because if you leave that out, you read the whole articles, why does everybody hate this guy? There you go. It's
But
those
if,
statements.
But if what you're saying is like, and I think tell me if I'm wrong, Jordy. What you're saying is you don't want a major publication putting those types of implications. Like, obviously, for the rest of your life, people are going to Google your name, right? When you
because like
no longer
the reason
you don't want
trolls
that coming
hit
up.
so hard on the pedophile shit is because like that's the worst thing you can be on the fucking planet. Like there's two things you don't want to be in jail: a pedophile and a fucking cop, right?
I will
Like,
say
they
this.
literally-
I will say this, Jordy. If we were friends and I found out you were doing that, I would have begged you and kept you on the phone long as possible to keep you from doing that. So in that sense, I do agree with you. But as far as her ethics are concerned, I just don't see it in this particular case. That's why. But this is also a lesson is why you never talk to the mainstream media.
Yeah, that's the reason. Because like Washington Post, like I had like 16 people wanted to pay me money to go and give them a similar story. I said, "F all y'all, I'm not doing this," because like I felt like she stabbed me in the back with that. So I was like, "Oh, okay,
I don't think she did. I don't think she did. I think she
I don't
did her
think so
job in
either.
this case. I think you didn't have the experience not to know not to talk to her.
Yeah,
I think that's what
pro
happened.
tip: don't talk to cops. Don't talk to the.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I don't
Yeah,
talk to
yeah,
cops
yeah,
either.
yeah. If you can learn nothing else from listening to the Lolcow podcast, the cops are not your friends. The press is not your friends.
No.
Do not talk to these people.
No.
At
Yeah, because she was as nice as humanly possible until she wasn't.
Of course she isn't. Of course they are. I mean, you probably didn't have a lot of experience. I could have told you that for sure.
And
is it-
every cop in the world is your best friend until they can find something to charge you with.
Yeah, that's their job. So we got the Evaldi thing. We got the arrested thing. I'm pretty much out of stuff, June. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, the video I think it was a shorter one. I think my longest on Jordy was 2 hours. It was very lengthy.
Good
Very
one.
lengthy.
And I want to say this in closing. Like, I do deserve some flack because I was this is like 2017-ish. Again, not in the right headspace. And I know I say the same thing in PK when I fell out of that in 2014. But, like, it was a while I was depressed. Like seriously depressed. And, like, I deserve some of it for being, like a bag and, like, just being, like, emotionally immature. But I felt like I needed to be on medicine and I wasn't. And I didn't know how to control my emotions. And like I pretty much grew up on YouTube, so I didn't have a father figure. And I know this woe is me, but like
Can I be your
I feel
father
like that
figure?
contributed. I feel like that contributed to like some of the things I stated when trolling first started and like my attitude.
Jordy,
But I'm at the point where it's like
Jordy, nobody cares. Nobody cares about you. This is the shit that gets you in
video
trouble.
cares.
Well,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
at the
they
point
care.
where
In this, they want to sit there and sit you crying and whine so they can make fun
yeah,
of you and troll
people
you.
don't really like that. It's just
They don't.
like,
They
we've heard
hate
this
it.
all before.
Boogie knows
We've all
this.
heard
I mean,
this
at least he
before.
says he does.
I mean, Boogie does it too. Like,
Yeah, I know he does. First of all, I like you a lot, Jordy. I'm going to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
you're
And
funny.
I have
and
done
out of
nothing but-
effect, like Boogie had a hissy fit with you, Tommy, about
Yes.
not wanting to cross these. I'm willing to. I'm like, I didn't take anything off the table.
Yeah.
No.
fair.
Look, I actually like you both. I really do. Right. And I don't think you're the worst guys in the world, but
No.
it's like if there's like a fork in the road and one says this is the wrong way and it's on fire and there's explosion and the other way is just like a clean road, you take the hellfire and brimstone every single time. The both of you.
I'll tell you
And-
why. I tell you why, because the Hellstar and Brimstone has fucking McDonald's.
Yeah, You're funny. That's another thing. People don't realize. I'm going to say some nice things about you, Jordy. How funny you are, how friendly you are. I mean, I was watching our first podcast. There was we're all three of us are having a really good time. You guys
Yeah.
like I don't care if the trolls hate. I think you're all right, but I know why they hate you.
Yeah.
I know why you get this flack.
Because
I mean, you
they're
didn't even
incels.
watch June's video. He's so we
Right.
should. I want you to thank June for being on, Jordy.
I do. I thank you for coming on. Like, this
Right.
is what I thought the podcast was going to be. And, like, I don't hold any hardship against it. I'm
I
not,
know
like,
you
I'm out here. And, like, you'll probably get back to you. Like, at some point, I called you Joon the King.
That was funny. I like that.
And, like, that's
Yeah,
because my
that one.
chat was calling you that. And
I
I didn't know that wasn't your name. I thought that was your actual YouTube name. That wasn't any hardship.
Boogie, you want to close on something?
Jordy, I haven't watched some of these videos about you, but actually getting to know the real you. It's so surprising to me because until today, I would have said most of this stuff is completely baseless, but I am beginning to understand a little bit more what Tommy's saying here is that you are stubborn and bullheaded, even when I think you might be wrong. You definitely, you're not a very pliable person, which is surprising considering how soft and fluffy you are. You know?
Well, maybe he has
What
the
do you mean,
thing like you
pliable?
did. We were all three of us were the best of fucking pals when we started this. And that documentary came out. You got to bug up your ass and you took it out on me, right? Maybe because June's here.
sure.
Maybe
It's
because June's
entertaining.
here.
I think
Wing
it's
is
better.
making we feel uncomfortable, and we're seeing more
I'm
the
not
wings that we
uncomfortable.
know.
I'm not uncomfortable at all.
You sure? Come on now.
100%. Like I don't. I am bullheaded. I will admit this, especially if you play Call of Duty with me. But like PK is a hill I'll die on.
Oh, fair enough.
That's
fair.
a hill I'll die on.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
gotta be
I
honest
wasn't
with you.
there. I can't speak for you, you know.
Fair enough.
And at the end of the day, I do genuinely, Jordy, I've grown. Even though you beat the living tar out of me, you were getting paid to do it, so don't blame me. But that said, you are a
I hugged you
genuinely
afterwards.
good person. I'm really surprised. And even with the jokes you've made, even with the things you said and done, even with, I just still think you're a great
Dude.
person. I'm really glad to be your friend. So.
I'd like to say this. Like most of the shit I said, you'll hear in a Call of Duty lobby every day of the fucking week.
Oh, I've heard far worse.
Oh,
Yeah, I
probably.
definitely.
Yeah,
For
far
sure.
worse. Yeah, it's like, come on, dog, you soft ass motherfuckers.
You know, you made me laugh so hard. And I did a Lolcow thing today. You're probably going to see it during the. I had this big
Tommy,
hunk
you are
of.
Lolcow. That's why
No,
you're
I'm
here.
not a Lolcow. No, but this I might be now. You made me laugh so.
You know what we got to do before we end this episode, though?
No, let me finish. And I'll let you do it. I had this big hunk of drool come. I started laughing so hard, and I leaned to the left, and all this goobers just came out of my mouth in the middle of the thing, and I know Connor's going to use it against me. So,
As he should.
Because
So-
everybody's going to be expecting Chris Chan, and we got to get Boogie to
We're
read
gonna
Chris
do it.
Chan's reply
We're
to
gonna
us.
get him. It's just gonna take time. It's not gonna be tomorrow. Like
sort of
Chris
right.
Chan has some disabilities. This is not like just hey, show up. We don't know if he's gonna show up or not. I got a
look.
couple plans to see how we could do it. Me and Nick are talking to figure out how we could do it.
But
it's not
he
gonna
has
be like
responded
this.
to us, and we want Boogie to read out
I
the
said
response.
this on Twitter, and I'm going to say it here. And if you want, I'll be glad to read this. I'll pull it up in the chat. But
Oh, go ahead, Wuggy.
but
We'll read
look,
this.
I don't like the things that Chris has done. I don't like the things that Chris has said. There's so much about what Chris has done that destroys me. But if she wants to come in here and sit with us for 60 minutes, I will do everything humanly possible to be as kind and as let me be the friend that you need during that podcast. And I'm gonna have to chew my own tongue to get it done. But I will get it done. So
why would you be like that,
we're not
Boogie?
all here to destroy you. We're not here to attack you. We're here to let you talk and say your piece and defend yourself and whatever. And I will be the mediator in that situation as best I can be. And I'm not promising anything. I can't promise you that I'll be perfect because some of the stuff that you're accused of destroys
Stop.
me.
Cut it. I'm sorry. I got to interrupt you. Let's not scare him away. Chris,
Yeah,
come
okay.
on. You're going to have a great time. It's fun. We're good guys. Come on, Chris. Let's do it.
I
What do you say?
don't hold anything against you because like I feel like like he's obviously on the spectrum. Like the dude's not mentally sound.
Would you
Wings,
like me
let's
to
not-
would you like me to read
Wings,
these DMs?
Please. No, I don't want you to cut
Yeah,
this whole
yeah.
segment.
Okay, all right, cut this segment.
What
Cut
about
it,
the
cut it,
DMs? Read the
cut it,
DMs.
cut it,
No,
cut it,
read the
cut it,
DMs.
cut it. Okay, read the DMs.
Read the DMs.
So here's the
Buggy.
DMs that we got from Chris. This was sent to, I believe, Nicholas DeOrio. They shared it in the chat. Chris said, I'm not the, quote, Lolcow, quote, that I mislabeled as back in the late 2000s, and I do not identify as such. We all have our respective situations that should be appreciated and accepted with kindness and understanding. I am to be appreciated and understood as the more mature individual that I have become and shall maintain from my further soul searching, literal meditations, and even my psychic connections with literally everything there is, was, and shall be. Should you and your crew feel unable to understand and appreciate that, then we are likely on an impasse. There are that which goes deeper than the physical and surface levels. The sparks from authentic mutual spiritual attraction and destined situations in soul bonding between individuals and friends is real. If you do not appreciate or have been able to open soul, open heart, and open-minded for that, much less experienced it for yourself, that's more pity I feel for you. Please feel free to share all that I have told you with your group. And there's some truth to this.
There is.
I think it sounds
What
like
I got,
it was written by
what
AI.
I got from that is buy MetaPC.
Yeah, buy a MetaPC. I will say, I do think we're all connected on a spiritual level, and I do all of that stuff, and I get some.
You're
But
going to
man,
hell,
that
Boogie.
just sounds like a bunch of
That's
crazy.
the longest yes or no I've ever heard in my motherfucking life.
That's wow.
So I mean, look, the audience really wants us to get Christian. That's what we're dealing with. We're working
He's meditating on it.
He's meditating on it. We're working on it. We want it. Look, it really, honestly, that's going to be. I think that's going to be our mountain to climb. It's not going to be easy. You know what I mean?
But I would
All
love
right,
to sit down
everybody.
with Chris. I would love
June.
that. I would hope we happen.
Big ups to Joon the King.
Right.
New Wings documentaries out. There's other documentaries on the channel. Check the channel out. It's fucking amazing. It's much better than Sunny V2. I see you
June.
guys next week.
Peace.
See ya.